Hey guys, it's Monday. It's the Betting Edge with the Prez. I'm Lawrence Presman. Excited to have Marco D'Angelo on with us. We're going to look at all 4 NFL games. It's an early look. There's lots still to come this week. Tomorrow's NFL show with Ralph Michaels, where Ralph and I will take apart the card in great detail. And also check out Puck Time. Puck Time today is Andrew McGinnis and Alex B. Smith. We look at all 4 games. As well, Drew Martin has a podcast with Andrew McGinnis today. And Joe Ranieri, guys, I don't know if you're checking out his shows. He does an NBA show every single day. And he does a college basketball show with the legend Ralph Michaels himself every day as well. You can get all of that content over at WagerTalk TV. We got lots of exciting news coming over the next month. So stay tuned. We've got new stuff. More content, a whole bunch of stuff. And today on our show, we got a bunch of promos for you. I'll start it right off the bat with Andrew McGinnis. You can find him over at sportsmemo.com. You can get 7 days of all his plays for $30 off the regular price. He's on a 12-3 all sports run, which is outstanding. And you can head over to Sports Memo, use the promo code Andrew89. That's Andrew89. Big man Marco D'Angelo. Philadelphia, 5% play yesterday. I think you had it, dude. I think Carson Wentz doesn't get injured. They win that game. Defense played outstanding, held Seattle to 17 points. And I think, Marco, there's so much irony. A week ago, you and I were lamenting a delay of game call by Seattle against San Fran that cost both you and I a cover. And I think we're lamenting a delay of game call by Philadelphia at the same spot that probably likely cost both of us a cover.
Just unbelievable. Unfortunately for me, the big play on Philadelphia, I can't catch a break with these injuries. Carson Wentz, who knows what would have happened. But it is what it is, Prez, and what a crazy weekend of NFL action. We've got, 2 of the big giants, done. I would have thought that the Saints and the Patriots would get eliminated in the same weekend. Just a bad performance by the Saints yesterday, playing at home. And I guess that's what happens whenever you run up scores on teams with no defense, and then you finally face a team with a defense. And things weren't as easy for the Saints yesterday. I did have the under in that game, which was a nice cover. But crazy weekend. And then Saturday, we could use an entire show talking about the Houston-Buffalo game, but I won't. Congratulations to you on the winner with Houston on Saturday, and just a crazy game and some crazy coaching decisions over the weekend.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you mention that because we should talk about some of the coaching decisions. And there was one was probably the worst coaching decision I've ever seen, and it went under the radar. Nobody is talking about it, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I had Houston. It was the $2 Tuesday play, so we had a shit ton of customers on that play. So namaste. Thank you, Houston. What a miracle win. But my big play, my 5% play was on Tennessee, and there was really no time in that game where that play was in doubt. 22 is an absolute beast. I mean, he should actually get on a plane, fly over to Seattle, and take Marshawn Lynch, pin him up against the wall and say, yo, dude, I'm beast mode, not you. Because there's never been a better beast mode than Derrick Henry. And my only real regret, Marco, is that I can't fade New England any longer. But I had an outstanding week. I went 6-1 on Saturday in all my plays. I'm on a 5-0 hockey run. I'm on an 8-2 all sports run, but I'm on a 9-2 NFL run. I went 2-1 this weekend. I did lose with Philadelphia. And I have a promo up for everybody. Prez NFL 79. That's only $79 for the rest of my playoffs, including about 10 props for the Super Bowl. And I got a 5% play up for this weekend. It's already up, bro. Easy one. I'm in love with this card. So I'm going to have 5 freaking plays I'm releasing to my clients in 4 games. How insane is that?
That is insane.
But you release what you love, and this is, I mean, I'm salivating over this weekend. We're going to get to it right in 2 minutes, but yeah, coaching decisions. Well, and we saw some utterly idiotic brain cramps. I mean, listen, Josh Allen, a minute to go in the game, crosses the 50 to set up a field goal to tie the game, and he decides to lateral the ball to nobody. One of the stupidest plays I've ever seen in my life, ended up being completely irrelevant. But Marco, in the Saints, brother, the real key loss in that Saints game was the penalty on the fake punt. It changed the entire game. I think that penalty by their offensive tackle, offside or whatever it was, really was huge. And obviously the fumble by Drew Brees towards the end there. But I thought Minnesota deserved to win the game, frankly. So I don't sit here feeling sorry for New Orleans. Dude, the worst coach decision I have ever seen. Tennessee.
You're going to go Tennessee?
Tennessee.
And which one are you going to talk about?
How do you go for 2 up by 7?
Yeah, it was absolutely idiotic.
I mean, I understand there's 6 seconds on the clock, but you know what? We've seen kick returns before.
Right.
We've seen trick plays before. Hail Marys have happened. Could you imagine that they kick the ball and New England runs it all the way back, gets a touchdown, and then wins it overtime, and all they had to do was kick an extra point?
Yep. I was watching it on the Strip with some friends in town for this week. The Penguins play the Golden Knights on Tuesday, so a lot of people in town for that game, and we're hanging out. I'm like, I was just totally dumbfounded by why
it was arrogance.
Yeah,
it was arrogance, dude. And you know what? Don't do that against Bill Belichick.
No, it's going to come back to haunt him. And how about the delay of games?
I don't even
milking the system. Oh no, it was great. I mean, he did everything.
2 minutes. They can't allow that, Marco. I mean, we already saw a common sense call on the Buffalo touchdown at the beginning of the second half, which I believe was the right call. It should not have been a touchdown. He did give himself up. But they should not have allowed Tennessee to take the offside full start call to do. Why didn't they just do another?
Yeah.
I mean, where does it end? You just do it from the 5-minute mark on? And I was watching that game with my girlfriend Vivian, and I'm like, they're doing this on purpose, and it should not be allowed. Marco, I know you thought Buffalo should have punted instead of gone for it on 4th and 27.
Absolutely.
You and I disagree.
No, you're at midfield.
I wouldn't punt, and I wouldn't go for it.
Well, what would you do?
It was an under 55-yard field goal attempt. I think it was 56 yards. You have at least a 40% chance of making that kick. You go for the kick. My call is the field goal.
I could have lived with trying the long field goal. Yes, that would have been an option. That wouldn't have been my first option, because you've got the number 5 defense in the league, and if you punt the football, you're supposed to be able to punt the football inside the 15-yard line from midfield. Okay, which another one of my pet peeves is that nobody, and I'm going old school football, whatever happened to the lost art of punting the ball in the coffin corner, of punting the ball out of bounds and just nailing it inside the 10-yard line? That is a lost art that nobody does.
They're probably just not bringing enough Australians in. And that's not even a joke, because Australia has Aussie rules football where instead of throwing the ball, they punt it to each other, and they've got some sick-ass aim.
It's ridiculous, but you got 3 timeouts in 2 minutes. You could have got the ball back if you hold them 3 and out. You get the football back at midfield at worst if they're punting from inside your 15-yard line. And that was the move that you're supposed to do, because then you still got a minute 30 left, and you're going it's just like resetting the clock. You're a fresh set of downs at midfield. And instead, they went for it, took a sack again, and then ended up holding them on the fourth down play whenever, I know you didn't like them going for it
Well,
on
I thought
fourth
that
down.
was the second worst. Behind Tennessee's complete arrogant brain cramp, I think going for it on fourth down there was utterly idiotic.
A long field goal can get blocked.
I wouldn't even take the field goal then, dude. Just pooch the ball to the 5-yard line
Fourth and short like that, you've got a good chance of making it, and then the game's over. I didn't have a problem with that move as much as I did with some of the other calls, but it is what it is. Let's get to this week's games. And
yeah, brother, let's go. Minnesota, plus 6.5 against San Francisco. 45 is the total, and well, this is an interesting situation because I think Minnesota is coming into this game feeling really, really good about themselves, and Dalvin Cook played really well. And the thing about Minnesota is, and I've been saying this all year, Marco, they could beat any team in all of football on any given day with that play action pass. They've got two outstanding wide receivers. They got a great tight end, and so long as Dalvin Cook is carrying the ball, and Kirk Cousins is running that play action, there's no reason why they can't win this game outright. And I understand San Fran has an outstanding defense. Their defense really hasn't been as great as we have seen in the last half of the season. I look at Minnesota here, brother, and I like over the total. I think we're going to get some points scored in this game.
yeah, the key to San Francisco in this game is going to be how many of the banged up guys on defense are able to get back this week. That's why them getting the week off was so huge. They need to try to get some of these guys back on the field. And granted, the second half of the season, they've played a tougher schedule and they've given up a ton of points, but it's been a combination of the tough schedule and the injuries. We'll see what happens there. There should be points scored in this game. As far as Minnesota goes, talking about injuries, and I mentioned this last week when we were doing the Bet On It show, that for Dalvin Cook, everybody, they were, how good is he going to be? He's banged up. He's got that shoulder and everything else. They said, if there's one game that he's going to be good, it's going to be this one because he hasn't taken hits for a couple weeks
great point.
On that shoulder. Now we'll see how he responds after getting the workload in that game yesterday, how his body reacts for the recovery time of coming back on the short week on Saturday and ending up, will he be as effective? That's the key there. So, yes, Minnesota's got confidence now. Kirk Cousins, you want to talk about, getting a monkey off your back. My God, this guy has not been able to win a Monday Night Football game, hasn't been able to win a playoff game. Now he's got that, well, hey, we finally won a big game, and no bigger game than going on the road and winning in New Orleans. So it might just feel a little bit overconfident this week, Minnesota. My initial read on this game is that I probably would look to San Francisco, but I'm going to dig deeper into this. And, of course, we'll break it down on Wednesday on the Bet On It show. But I can't disagree with you about the points. I think you will see more points in this game than you saw in the Saints-Vikings game.
He's Marco D'Angelo. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And, of course, he's one of the guests on Bet On It, the most watched NFL betting show in the world. Yes, Marco, a guest. I know you like to text Johnny and I all day long about how you're part of the number one show. You're what we call a guest.
And executive producer.
Okay, except executive producer is the guy who pays. And you're the co-founder of WagerTalk. So yes, some of that money is technically yours. Dude, Tennessee, Baltimore, we've got a line move here. Came out at 9.5. There's still a 9.5 at South Point, but we got an 8.5 at Pinnacle, and the over and under is moving down as well from 48 to 47. Initial look for me is I like Tennessee here. I think they match up really well against Baltimore. I spoke about that last week, and I like the under in this game. There's going to be so much running, dude. There's three things that are going to run in this game, bro. Baltimore, Tennessee, and the clock.
Yeah.
What do you like, brother?
You're 100% right that both teams are going to run, but these are two teams that don't have good defenses. And even though both teams are going to be running the
Okay,
football,
there's going to be a shit ton of comments now. What do you mean Baltimore doesn't have a good defense? What do you mean? What do you mean?
you look and see these teams can give up points. In Tennessee, if New England had a quarterback that could throw deep, which Tom Brady has not been able to do the second half of the season, or targets, there would have been a lot more points on the board.
Look, Tennessee went over 10 in a row, something like that.
Yeah. So I know the knee-jerk reaction is going to be run, both of these teams, and that's going to eat clock. But when you run the ball as efficiently as these teams do, and you have the ability for big plays, Lamar Jackson gets into the secondary in this Tennessee defense, you could be talking about a running play that's about 10 seconds because he's going to the house if he breaks it into the secondary.
Yeah, and he will. I mean, no doubt he will. Plus, it sets up the play action pass, and Lamar Jackson is tied with Kirk Cousins as the number one rated passer using the play action pass. So, yeah, I'm with you there, dude. Houston against Kansas City. I mean, this is a really interesting game. You know, is Houston the team that played the first half against Buffalo? Is it the team that played the second half? And if I was Kansas City, I would hate the fact that I had a rest. I don't think it bodes well for a team that is, their offense is either in sync or it's not in sync. It's not a running style offense. I look to play Houston in the first half, first quarter. I know they started off really slow, but I think Kansas City's offense is going to be slightly out of sync right off the bat. I can't find a side in this game yet, and I do lean on the over, Marco.
Yeah, I would agree with you on the over. I think there's going to be a lot of points here. To shoot down the fact of Kansas City being sluggish coming off the bye week, I understand that with most teams that you would say something like that, and most of the time it would be correct. But if you remember, this was a team that did not rest starters on week 17. They had something to play for. So Kansas City played full bore that final week. And if you go back to the regular season, Mahomes missed a few games with that knee injury, and he came in that first game back, didn't miss a beat with this offense. They went right down the field. I just can't help but look at that first half, and I look at Bill O'Brien in how badly he was out-coached and out-prepared for the start of that game. You know, if Buffalo would have, just had any kind of second half, that game, Houston never has a shot to get back in it. They were down 16-0, but they were lucky to only be down 16-0. They were so out-coached with the game plan. Houston's they overreact to plays. In the play calling, everything was misdirection in that first half. Now, I will give you this much. Houston's going to be prepared for misdirection stuff in the first half so that they don't over-pursue the way they did. And you saw them make adjustments in the second half, and none of those plays were working. But still, this is a coaching mismatch with Andy Reid versus Bill O'Brien.
And I think Bill O'Brien's a disaster, dude. I do not think he's a good coach at all. He's really getting by on the talent of that team, and there is a lot of talent on that team. And, JJ actually came back and looked half decent, made a crucial sack in that game. Dude, let's talk the final game, Green Bay against Seattle. And this game is intriguing to me because it's really the worst 13-3 team in history of the NFL from a yards differential perspective against a team that really isn't that good either in Seattle. Somebody has to win this game, though.
Should we call it the Overachievers Bowl?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, seriously,
it's talk about
in baseball, we talk about the Pythagorean theorem and everything else in the theorem. And this is a spot where if you would do that with these teams, both of these teams would be lucky to be 500 teams with the numbers they've put up this year. And yet they're, top playoff teams. And the reason for that, and this is the difference of the NFL, when you've got a quarterback that is on another level, and let's face it, are there two more recognizable names in the NFL that's remaining in the field other than Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. But look at the rest of the quarterbacks that are in the playoffs. They're not the big names. Yes, Lamar Jackson's going to be the MVP. He's a second-year player, and Mahomes is a second-year
Yeah, dude,
player.
we get it. I mean, those are two monsters, and Russell, both of them are not only incredible quarterbacks, but they're studs, man. They're both studs.
They care. I don't know that there's a better quarterback throwing on the run than Russell Wilson. The guy is amazing with his arm strength and his pinpoint accuracy on the run.
The greatest pass of this entire year was Aaron Rodgers throwing on the run in that back corner. It was mind-flooring. But you're right, Russell, you're right, dude. Where are you going in this one, brother? And then let's call it a show.
You know, my initial reaction, and again, guys, this is Monday morning.
Yeah.
We've got a week to tear this apart. My initial reaction is Seattle is so ugly, but they have played so well on the road, and you give me Russell Wilson in points, it's tough not to look that way.
Yeah, I agree, dude. 100% agree. Marco, thanks so much for joining us, brother. 2 promos we gave out today. Prez NFL 79, $79 for my entire NFL playoffs, all the way through to the Super Bowl. At least 10 props will be included in that. As well, Andrew 89, $89 for Andrew McGinnis, 1 week of all his plays. He's on a 12-3 run. Marco, it's such a pleasure doing the show with you. I can't thank you enough, my brother. We'll see you and Jeff Oskheim on Friday to do this again. Until then, be well, brother, and enjoy doing Bet on It.
No problem. Thanks, Prez.